The real reason for Tucker Carlson's abrupt departure from Fox remains a little unclear, and there's a bunch of different hypotheses or theories circulating. You saw one that was actually, well, here the article. This one is...
Well, I mean, can we really trust it? I think it's from The Guardian.
The Guardian in Britain.
Yeah.
What does it say?
Well, it says that Tucker Carlson's vulgar language in texts contributed to Fox's firing of him.
And what's the vulgar language, and who was he referring to?
So apparently he was referring to Sidney Powell and some of it. He also referred to Murdoch and other parts of it. And apparently he was just a very mean guy, is what they were saying.
Well, I can see if he made disparaging comments about Rupert Murdoch, that if it got back to Murdoch would be upset. I'm his boss, that kind of thing. I mean, it seems pretty clear that Tucker is a little bit of an earthy guy. And I say this because, in fact, you made this point to me, that when Justin B. Wells sent me very insulting texts, this was in the immediate aftermath of 2000 Mules, he was speaking in this kind of vulgar, brutish language. And I said to Debbie, I'm like, do you think that Tucker's producer would do this on his own? And she's like, well, Tucker talks like that. So this is the talk around the office. And there's a woman named Abby Grossberg who's apparently suing Tucker, claiming that there was all this very vulgar, sexist talk going on in the office. Who knows? I mean, I have seen in articles a completely different theory that has nothing to do with any of this, and actually says that it's Tucker's Christianity. And by Christianity, what I mean is not Tucker's personal devoutness or anything like that, but Tucker gave a speech at Heritage right before he got fired. And he basically said, this isn't just a political fight. He goes, this is a spiritual war. And the other side isn't just wrong. They're basically like on the devil's side.
They're evil.
They're on
as
the evil, as we've
say.
said. Yes, exactly. So I thought that this rhetoric is actually, that Tucker was saying, reflected some deeper truths about our politics. There is a moral dimension. There is a religious dimension.
But why would Fox
That makes no sense, right?
It makes absolutely no sense, because most of Fox's audience are Christian conservatives.
And then look at the way in which Ainsley and others wear their Christianity on public display.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, admittedly, Fox is, I would say, mainly about economic and foreign policy conservatism. They don't really focus on social issues. But even so, it seems to me implausible and a bit much to say that Tucker gave a speech, not even on Fox, this is at Heritage, and that was a key factor. I don't think we've really gotten the full story. I mean, Fox isn't telling. Notice how little they covered the story.
My theory is that maybe perhaps even, with all of the January 6th footage that he got, my theory is that perhaps because you said they didn't let him do the full on story, that he complained to the powers that be, right? And that they saw him as too much of a risk. Maybe. I don't know. Well,
I think it may also be that even though they gave him more latitude than they gave the other hosts, it was still not enough. And Tucker was like, listen, I want to be able to let Tucker be Tucker, if you will. And these guys were like, no, guess who owns Fox? Fox. We're a corporation. You're an employee. So you do what you're told. And Tucker rankled. But even given all that, honey, I think even that doesn't fully explain it. Here's why. Tucker didn't walk. Evidently, what happened is there was some sort of a showdown. Tucker on Friday goes, see you Monday. And then Monday comes along, and evidently Tucker's planning his show. Then somebody had a conversation with Tucker, and they made this rather momentous decision. You're out. Tucker then tells his staff, and essentially his show doesn't appear on the air that day or subsequently. So this appears to be a Fox decision.
No, that's what I mean. But he made them mad, and that's why. Because maybe perhaps he was too opinionated and too upset about not being able to do this or that. And they're like, you know what? He's more of a liability for us, even though he was making them all their money. And he was like, we survived after O'Reilly,
This is a key point. I think Fox thinks that in the end, people's loyalty is to Fox. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not true. I think what happened with O'Reilly was that Tucker was able to step into those shoes and create a persona that he already had, but he was able to sort of hit his own stride in that show, in the primetime hour, and in a sense, do better than O'Reilly. Now, Fox was thinking, well, we'll find another guy who's going to do better than Tucker.
Right.
And I think that is a hope rather than a practical expectation.
Not only that, but I really don't think that somebody can come in and do better than Tucker, because they're going to muffle them, right? They're gonna silence them.
In fact, the only type of guy who would take that job is someone who agrees in advance to be muffled. Right? Because they're going to recognize, listen, muffling is part of what they do at Fox. And if you want to be unmuzzled, then you don't want to sign up for this. Tucker at least may not have known what he was getting into, but obviously his successor knows. He knows, listen, I'm working for Fox. They're going to tell me what to do. I need to be a kind of obedient host. Otherwise, I too will get the boot.
You know, and maybe Tucker might want to go on to do radio, maybe fill in Limbaugh's shoes. I don't know. I really don't know.
He does have. There are a lot of avenues open to Tucker.
Absolutely, it's not just, you know. I was telling you that you know, it could be that he could just start his own network. Who knows?
For sure, we do need it.